Come on. What happened, guys? No power.
Welcome back to you.
It is the first race of the year and the first disappointment for Ferrari. The new SF23 is not as fast as its predecessor, but it already shows the same reliability problems, with only Carlos Sainz out of the two Ferrari drivers finishing the race. Carlos finished the race in a distant fourth place, only keeping fourth because of the pitfalls of Mercedes. The W14 looked as bad as you would expect. In the words of Toto Wolff himself, there was nothing positive we could take from this race. We lack rhythm. The drivers have to push, and that damages the tyres. Red Bull is on another planet. Aston Martin has the second fastest car. It was a real call to attention to us. Hamilton ended up finishing 5th after being unable to pass Sainz like Alonso did earlier in the race. Russell only a distant 7th, falling behind the other Aston Martin of the recovering Lance Stroll. Red Bull has already shown that it is in another league. Max just ran the race as he pleased due to Perez having a poor start and losing the race from there. However, in relation to Max Verstappen, Perez does seem to have made some progress over the winter to be able to close that pace gap to him. Aston Martin seems to be the revelation that was expected. Fernando Alonso overtaking the two Mercedes on track and the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. Stroll, even though he was injured, had a great race as well, finishing ahead of George Russell and even in the latter stages of the race catching Lewis Hamilton. This is a very strong start for the English team, with a car on the podium and another comfortably in the top 10. The third place and the sixth place that they got, leaving them second in the Constructors' Championship behind Red Bull. Then there is Bottas for Alfa Romeo, who had a very good race in 8th, as well as Gasly, who started from the back of the grid, putting on a stunning recovery drive to get that Alpine back into the points, his teammate Ocon having to deal with multiple penalties during the race. Alpine again failing to deliver on their best of the rest promise, and they will need to work hard to make up for this over the rest of the season. Alexander Albon in the Williams shone again and got a potential vital point that could be worth the difference between 9th and 10th in the Constructors' Championship. Oscar Piastri had a quiet showing in his first F1 weekend, having a quite torrid qualifying, not making it out of the first session. However, with that McLaren looking so difficult to drive, there is still plenty of time and potential for Piastri to improve. His race wasn't much better, being the first retirement of the season. His teammate also having slow pit stops, as it seems that the McLaren had pressure issues throughout the race. Logan Sargent, however, shone in relation to the rest of the rookies, setting an identical time to Norris in qualifying, however a few seconds too late, so unfortunately he was knocked out in Q1. In the race, however, he finished P12, only 2 places behind his much more experienced teammate in Alexander Albon. Yuki Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri seemed to show his pace at Bahrain again. This being his 3rd season at AlphaTauri, Franz Tost has come out to say that he needs to perform. Tsunoda beating De Vries both in the race and in qualifying, and challenging Albon until the very last lap, having to settle for P11. De Vries, much like Piastri, had a quiet showing this weekend, knocked out in Q1 and towards the back of the field in his car. AlphaTauri will need to make progress quickly to be able to improve from their P9 constructors standing last year. And finally, the Haas team having a very forgettable weekend. Both cars running around towards the back of the field after Hülkenberg picked up damage early in the race. And that is it for the Bahrain Grand Prix recap. Hope you enjoyed, and see you for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in a week and a half.